My name's Nancy Salmon, and I work at the University of Limerick in the Department of Clinical Therapies. My research has three main strands. The first is a foundation piece that's the Research Active Program, and that's a module for students with intellectual disabilities to become co-researchers on projects. The second strand is called Navigating Stigma, and that's a project that's developing a qualitative database of interviews with people with disabilities in Ireland coming up to the ratification of the UN Convention. So that involves 40 postgrad students. And the third strand is a set of international case studies in the Republic of Ireland. The second one is in Nova Scotia, and the third one is in Northern Ireland, about how people with intellectual disabilities are transitioning from institutions into community living. I first heard about Marie Curie Actions at just a research event at the University of Limerick, and it was just presented as a kind of an array of choices you might have as a new academic in Ireland. So it happened in the first couple of months that I lived here. I applied for the funding for the Marie Curie. I guess in part the main part would have been to really integrate the work I'd been doing in Canada with the direction I thought I could take in Ireland. So it gave me a great opportunity actually to develop a program of research that really focused on what the elements of my workload would be here, but also it helped move my research agenda forward. So it was a brilliant opportunity actually to connect with people even around developing the grant application from a lot of different organizations in Ireland, community groups, but also really importantly, the Centre for Disability Law and Policy in Galway. So it was a great opportunity to link in with people. For me, one of the personal benefits is actually the social capital that this grant gives me, and I wasn't expecting that at all. Being from Canada, I didn't really understand the leverage that a Marie Curie Fellowship would afford me. So it's giving me access to people that I never would have imagined having access to, especially as a non-national, especially as a non-European citizen. So to be able to link in with politicians, with really high-level academics, to have access to really high quality and high level international conferences where as soon as you put that label on the bottom that you're a Marie Curie Fellow, suddenly you have an advantage that I just wouldn't have ever expected. So it's been a brilliant opportunity in terms of access to people, access to information, and other resources that extend far beyond what the actual dollar or euro figure is on the grant itself. I think one of the main highlights for me, because my work is very much about connecting with communities, is this grant has given me the leverage, essentially, at my university to enable me to connect with the communities that I really want to link in with. So, for example, the work I do with people with intellectual disabilities, it's allowed me to engage with people from many different organizations. And in Ireland, there's a history of, especially with intellectual disability service providers, of staying really quite isolated from each other. And so it's enabled me to link across organizations in a way that hasn't historically happened here. And so now people with disabilities who've been provided with services from very different places have relationships that they would never have had an opportunity to engage in before. I think that the Marie Curie Actions are a brilliant option, actually, for anybody in the social sciences and humanities. I went to a conference here in Dublin, maybe it was 2 years ago, I think, in the summer, and what I was surprised by was how my work was seen as innovative. And I never would have imagined my work, I'd never thought about my work in that way before, in terms of innovation in research practice and innovation in social sciences and humanities. So I think one thing that social scientists maybe aren't so great at is actually understanding where we sit in the research domain and how much our work is valued by funders like the Marie Curie Actions, and particularly research that involves people with disabilities, participatory action research. I think there's incredible opportunities there around innovation in research practice, and that we as social scientists really need to understand that that's highly valued and makes a really important contribution. I would recommend that other people apply for Marie Curie grants under Horizon 2020. With my experience in coming to Ireland 3 years ago and preparing this grant application, it was just an amazing opportunity to establish connections. Even if the grant had never been funded, the process of applying for it allowed me to create connections I never would have attempted to in just coming to a new country as a non-national. So just the opportunity to link in with people and to have that excuse to call somebody up or send an email or meet for a coffee and talk through what a project idea might be and how it could contribute to the research landscape in Ireland and then within the EU. To me, that was probably one of the most valuable parts of just the process of applying. So regardless of the outcome, the process was actually phenomenally helpful in establishing my program of research for these past 3 years and going forward probably for the next 5 to 8 years.